as we say goodbye to 2025, which, not going to miss you, 2025, I must say, and think about a new year and what we might want to bring into that new year, what we might want to leave behind, it is useful to consider what in Buddhism are called the brahmavihāras, or Four Immeasurables. Brahmavihāra means divine abode. So these four qualities, which you have in immeasurable quantities, so don't worry about running out of them, provide a home for our hearts, for our truths, for who we really are. And the four immeasurable qualities, or brahmavihāras, are loving kindness, compassion, sympathetic joy, and equanimity. So we'll look at each one briefly, and I will also include mention of what are called the far and near enemies of each brahmavihāra, because they each have one enemy, the far enemy that is actually the opposite. And there's also a near enemy, something that looks like that immeasurable quality, but in fact is not. So first, loving kindness, let's talk about what that doesn't mean. It doesn't mean you're nice. It doesn't mean you're kind. It doesn't mean you make room for everyone, no matter how despicable. That has nothing to do with loving kindness. True loving kindness begins, interestingly, with softening toward yourself, with feeling kindly disposed to yourself, with recognizing your struggles, your traumas, your griefs, not so that you can dwell in them or wallow in them, but so that you can find a genuine heart opening to yourself, without which prevents, period, any chance of loving kindness toward others. Because if you leave out softening toward yourself, you diminish, even destroying, that quality of opening toward others. So you see your struggles, you feel for yourself, and then you think of others. In the traditional teaching, you extend loving kindness first toward yourself, as mentioned, and then toward someone you love, because that's easy. It's not conditional, like, I will love you if this, or I have loving kindness for you when you act that way. It's just, I care about you, my child, my partner, my friend, my pet. My heart just sings with love when I think about you. There's no question. So we recognize our capacity for loving kindness when we start with people we already love. The heart just tugs open. You don't have to try. Then in classic teaching, you think of someone you don't know, a stranger, and you don't have any feelings about this person one way or another. But you know, because it's always true, that they have struggles and traumas and difficulties and grief and so on. So you can feel lovingly kind toward them without knowing them at all. Then you think of what's called an enemy, someone you don't like, someone who has hurt you, someone who has hurt others, someone who is just bad. And you extend your loving kindness toward them. Now, this is where it gets very interesting. This does not mean on any planet that you forgive them, that you like them, that you let them off the hook, that you're like, well, okay, I'm sure they had a bad childhood, so it doesn't matter that they bombed boats or killed people. No, we don't do that. That's off the table. You can hate anyone you want. You can be furious. You can be enraged. You can hold on to all the feelings you have about this enemy and still extend loving kindness to them, as long as you don't do one thing, which is discount their humanity, aka think that you are any different from them. So you start with yourself, just going back to the beginning for a moment. I have struggles, I have sorrow, and so on. Oh my goodness. I feel love toward myself, feel empathy. You think of a loved one, well, they have struggles too, or they will, and I feel loving toward them. Then you think of someone you don't know, guaranteed struggles, grief, sorrows, feel lovingly kind toward them. Then you think of the enemy. They too have struggles and grief and sorrows and traumas, and doesn't matter in the sense that there is no justification for their behavior. No matter how traumatic the difficulties have been in their life, doesn't matter. You don't forgive them. You don't stop being angry at them. But you see that you are not different from them in the following way. Let's say that you are full of fiery rage, and even sometimes when you're falling asleep, hope that this person who shall remain nameless would just drop dead already. Let's say that happened to someone. I don't know anyone like that, but let's say that happens to someone. Okay, why are you so mad at this person? Well, there could be endless reasons, and they're all, as far as I can tell, quite justified. Maybe this person has lied to an entire country. Maybe this person thinks every single thing that happens on planet Earth and beyond is about them. Maybe this person sows seeds of hatred. Perhaps there is such a person. Now, I'm not like that. I'm just going to tell you straight up. You're not like that. I'm quite sure. However, have you ever lied to get your way? I have. Have you ever placed yourself in the center of the universe and imagined that whatever happens in your world is about you personally? I have. Have you ever talked smack about other people because those other people, for whatever reason, that you don't like them and you want other people to not like them? Well, I have. So, though I am not a tyrant, pretty sure about that one, I can feel the seeds of tyrannical behavior in my being. So, that doesn't, again, mean I have to forgive anyone or like anyone, because I don't forgive and I don't like, but I can see that we are in the same boat. And I can wish loving kindness without forgiving and without changing my feelings for this fellow human being. And sometimes also hope that they might drop dead, which is horrible, and I'm not proud of it. But these are desperate times. So that's number one. The far enemy of loving kindness is hatred. You just forget it. I'm not going to allow a moment of consideration for this person or these people or the situation. I want them out. I want them gone. That's the enemy of loving kindness. The far enemy of loving kindness is hatred. The near enemy of loving kindness is like conditional loving kindness. I'm only going to be nice to these people. And when I am nice, because I like them or they like me or whatever my reason is, everybody who sees me is going to be like, wow, that person has nailed loving kindness. But in my heart, it's conditional, and it's only for some and not for others. The second immeasurable quality is called compassion, which is different than loving kindness. Loving kindness, as mentioned, is rooted in uh, abiding in the truth of interdependence and commonality between beings, and therefore recognizing that what happens to you in some way happens to me. Compassion is feeling other people's pain in your own heart. So sympathy is feeling other people's pain and going, oh, that's too bad. Empathy is noting someone else's pain and going, I get that. I feel for you. Compassion is no divide between that person's pain and what is happening in your own heart. You feel that pain as your own. Now, that's a big one. That's a big one. But again, when you abide in the recognition of interdependence and commonality, it is your own. You're not pretending. It's real. Their pain is your pain. Think about that. The far enemy of compassion is cruelty, is I don't care about your pain. You deserved it. Oh, yeah, you forget it. That makes me so upset and angry. And the near enemy of compassion is pity. I feel sorry for you. Pretty sure that's self-explanatory. The third immeasurable quality is called sympathetic joy, everyone's favorite. If compassion is feeling other people's pain as your own, because it is, sympathetic joy, put on your damn party hat, is feeling other people's joy as your own. Not, oh, that's nice for them, I'm happy for them. Not, oh, that's really good news, let's celebrate. It's your joy, your happiness, your success, your accomplishment is mine. I feel it too. Thank you. I appreciate it. I feel your joy, not just in my heart, as mentioned, but as my heart. And so if you think, well, I don't have a lot to be happy about on some days or in my life, however extreme you want to take it, you could pause and think, well, there are people right now who I love. Let's start with that. Let's make it a little easier. Who are experiencing goodness. Can I feel into that experience, not to take it or co-opt it or be jealous of it, but to let it flood me so that their joy can become part of who I am. The far enemy of sympathetic joy is, you probably guessed it already, envy. Why do they have it and I don't? And the near enemy of sympathetic joy is kind of frivolous enjoyment, like enjoyment that's not really rooted in anything real or rich or true, but more like a distraction. I'm just going to try to do things or feel things that distract me from myself and are exciting and vicarious so that I don't have to look at whatever it is I'd rather not look at. And the fourth immeasurable quality, which is different in tone, as you'll see in a moment, is called equanimity, which means abiding evenly throughout your experiences of loving kindness, compassion, and sympathetic joy. Now, this doesn't mean feeling numb or monotonous or the same about pain and joy, because that's crazy. It means when there is something to grieve, you grieve. And when it dissolves, you let go. When there's something to be joyful about, you feel it, you experience it. And when it dissolves, because it will, you let go. So you stay on the ride of the first three immeasurables without gripping or dispelling, but by being with. My favorite analogy for equanimity is surfing, which I've never done, so maybe this is a poor analogy. But what I imagine about surfing is that if you're good enough to get up on the surfboard, then you have to let go of any ideas you have about how to surf and just ride each wave. And if you space out, like, wait, what am I supposed to do with this kind of wave? You fall off. But you meet each wave, you ride each wave. When the wave that you have just ridden is gone, you ride the next one, and the next one, and the next one. And anything you do otherwise means you fall. So equanimity is like surfing. The far enemy of equanimity is grasping. Like, I don't want this one to be true, or I don't want this one to go away. We all do that. I've done it like 100 times today already. But okay, can you notice when you're doing that? Don't try to stop doing it, because that's the opposite of equanimity. Notice that you're doing it. Feel what it feels like to do it and watch it as it dissolves on its own, because it will. And the near enemy of equanimity is indifference. Like, it might look like you're being equanimous when you're like, oh, it's all good. But actually, you are apathetic. You're not engaged with what's going on. You have trapped yourself in the world of good vibes only, which is a terrible place to be. And I'm not joking about that. So, truly, I hope this has been useful as we enter a new year. Please consider your own relationship to the four brahmavihāras, the four immeasurable qualities: loving kindness, compassion, sympathetic joy, and equanimity. Don't try to be lovingly kind or compassionate because you'll be faking. But notice when you are genuinely compassionate. Notice when you're not. Notice when you do feel happy for someone else, and notice when you can't. That's where we always start, with what is actually happening. So if you try to strong arm yourself into being some goody goody, well, that's, hashtag fail right there. It won't work. But just noticing your own relationship to the qualities is itself an embodiment of loving kindness, compassion, sympathetic joy, and equanimity. So the noticing is the thing. So thank you for listening. We're going to go now to the podcast after party, where we're going to listen to another one of my favorite songs that I love so much. And it's very different, I would say, than previous songs in our podcast after parties. It's called Jump Around by a band called House of Pain. And I first encountered House of Pain when I worked at the record label that they were on back in the day when Jump Around came out. I think it was the early 90s. It was called Tommy Boy. And I worked at Tommy Boy for a minute, maybe a year and a half or something. Not on their hip hop side, not on the dance side, not on the recordings that Tommy Boy was known for. But Tom of Tommy Boy long ago wanted to start a division of music for people interested in spirituality. This has nothing to do with House of Pain, as you may already have guessed. And he hired me to create that division. It was a noble effort, let's just say that, but really wasn't a very good idea. But we tried. And I got to work at Tommy Boy. I got to live in New York City. I got to hear Jump Around and so on. One of the most notable things about Jump Around is the opening screech. I don't know what even to call it. It's just an otherworldly sound, meaning I never heard a sound like this in the whole world. The samples on Jump Around are incredible. Studies have been made on where these samples came from. And I'm going to include in the show notes a link to a YouTube video called The Best Sample in History that dissects where this screech comes from or may come from, because some people think it's a horse that was just, toyed with in the studio. Some people think it's connected to a Prince song called Get Out, I think. Let me check that. Get Off makes much more sense. And some people think it's a sample from a band from the 60s called Junior Walker and the All-Stars. It's a mystery, and a charming mystery, if I may say. So I'll leave it at that. We'll go right to Jump Around. And thank you so much for listening to this episode.
Your seat and jump around, jump around, jump around. Hello, my name is Susan Piver. I'm a writer and longtime practitioner and teacher of Buddhism. I've come to see that many people think of Buddhism and meditation practices associated with it, like mindfulness, as ways to reduce stress. But I would like to tell you that the Buddhist path is far more rich than that. It is a way to wake up, to become liberated from suffering. And forget about enlightenment, it's also a way to live your everyday life more fully and meaningfully. This podcast is to share with you classical Buddhist teachings that I have found enormously beneficial, and also to tell stories from my own life about how I applied and misapplied these teachings. And I do want to tell you from my more than 30 years of experience that the Dharma is real, and it provides an extraordinarily nuanced, profound, and pragmatic guidebook to living a life of wisdom, compassion, and courage.